what usually causes a person to commit suicide, and why do they want to do so?
Yeah, most of the patients with suicidal thoughts is depression patient. So many of suicidal accidents happen in depression patients, and I believe that they just want to relieve the pain actually.
Yes.
So many people have a misunderstanding about the suicidal thought and also how to manage the suicidal thought, because they think that this is only kind of like a seeking attention, or maybe just like a kind of like a sign that the people did not grateful enough with their
Yeah.
life. It is wrong, actually. But it is the signs of the symptoms of depressions, and we must pay attention to these particular ideas, suicidal thought. That's why the psychiatrist always asks about these particular signs and symptoms of depressions in every patient with depression. So it's very common in depression patients, and we have to admit that this is real. This is not only a seeking attention behavior from the patients of depression, and we have to address and acknowledge.
Okay.
Couldn't agree more. It's just like the reality that we are facing right now. And by the way, Dr. Andri, I just want to make a compliment for your T-shirt. You are so proud to be a psychiatrist, which
Yay!
it's very wonderful.
Yes.
Because being a psychiatrist is just not only being a doctor, but also save people's life, right?
Yes, it's not just life, and it's all the mental as well, right?
Of course.
Because it's sometimes, that's the area which is very hard to understand for some people.
Yeah.
That's why we have our expert. Now, Dr. Andri, let's continue. We we can detect, the signs of somebody if they're actually, they need to be helped. But sometimes we are not concerned about that. We don't know the true sign of the opposite people who is actually seeking for help. So what are the signs that we need to be aware of, Dr. Andri?
Yeah, the first thing that we have to remind ourselves is when the patient, or maybe it's a friends, colleagues, our members of family, talking about their feelings, and sometimes we know that we tend to reply as soon as possible when people tell their feelings. We don't listen very carefully. We don't listen empathically. So just when someone said about, I don't feel happy about this life, and then we tend to reply that, oh, you have to be very grateful, you have to pray more, maybe you have to kind of like have a exercise. It's very kind of like a immediate and kind of like a response that make people stop trying to tell more about themselves. That's why in our society, and this is the World Prevention Day also, we have to remind us again that we have to talk to people when we have something in mind that bother us. And as a kind of like a listener, we have to try to listen carefully, listen empathically, and not trying to give some like a prone advice that not really good actually, not really suitable for this kind of particular patient or people who have the depression. So I think we have the baseline here is to listen empathically.
Listen empathically. Maybe most of the time we only want to listen to comment, but right now we are reminded to be listen with very more carefully and put a lot of empathic for that. Dr. Andri, thank you so much. And right now we are moving a little bit to Kak Sasti. Hi, Kak Sasti. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. So, Kak Sasti, can you tell us on how Into the Light was established?
Yeah, okay. Into the Light is actually a youth-based organization. We start this movement on 2013,
All
our
right.
founder Benny Prawira started to campaign the suicide prevention because at that time, almost in Indonesia, we never speak about suicide because a lot of stigma happens. But back then, Benny Prawira and also some of his friends starting to create this organization into the
Yeah.
Light Indonesia.
Okay.
So now we noticed that the Light Indonesia, that was an organization which is very focused on this case. So why do you choose to promote awareness of suicide prevention? We know that it's very important. And what are you finding about depression and suicide case here in Indonesia?
Okay, as what Dr. Andri said that suicide is also important emergency in Indonesia, and this kind of suicide sometimes still not important as physical health or mental health is not important as physical health. So that's why in Into the Light Indonesia we are very focused on suicide. We know that every life matters. We know that people out there may need some help from the community and support system. So that's why we create this Into the Light Indonesia. And what we're finding about depression and also anxiety, we back then in 2020 during pandemic, we created this research collaboration with Change.org, and we find that there is an increasing about anxiety and also depression during the pandemic. And but then the people do not have this willingness to seek help. A lot of people
Yeah.
because there's some internal external factors that happen to them.
Okay, Kasasti, we know that the presence of the medical help, like a doctor, and the organization or the community is very important. But I believe that the closest one, the people, the family, or your friends, is also very important. So as a person, we have a friends and a family and everything. How do you support a person who wants to commit suicide and convince him or her to not to do it?
Okay, as actually Dr. Andri has said about this, we need to listen carefully about our
Yeah.
family, our friends, and we have the sign from the people who commit suicide. But then sometimes we are too busy with our tasks or our daily lives
Yeah.
without even noticing what happened with our family, our sister, brother, and also our friends. So that's why to make sure that they didn't or do not do. Suicide is make sure that they have support system. They know they are safe. They know that they have someone to lean on and to listen to them.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. Now, Ms. Elsie, we're just going to hold you for a minute. We're going to go back to Dr. Andri here. Dr. Andri, you didn't mention about, the first thing that we really need to do is actually first, we need to listen,
Yeah.
right? Listen hard, and then second of all is do not give instant answer or instant judgment, you said. Now, regarding to that, how can we be a good listener? Because some people, Dr. Andri, it's no magic that some people likes to listen to other people's feeling.
Yeah.
Some does not like to listen because they can actually go on and on. But what is actually the line that hits us that, okay, she is or he is in a need of help?
Yeah, I know that listen empathically is not a gift. So we have to train ourselves to listen carefully and listen empathically.
Right.
Just like, kind of like an organization for youngsters, like Into the Light, that has many, kind of like a program for us to, kind of like practicing our listening carefully and empathically. But when we see a patient or a depressed patient that has some ideas of suicidal thoughts, we have to be very careful. So when people say that, oh, I'm not useless, I'm not, kind of like good enough for this life.
Right.
If I'm working, I'm not able in this life. I'm not, kind of like maybe if I'm going wrong, if I'm, kind of like going somewhere that many people will not, recognize me anymore, or feeling sad, kind of like continuously.
Right.
It's a science that many people do not, understand that this is the science kind of like a depression people also. So it's not only a core symptoms like mood, kind of depressed mood or feeling loss of pleasure that many patient or the practitioner believe that this is the core symptoms of depression,
Right.
but also the other symptoms like cognitive declining or maybe like sleeping problems, behavior in eating, these kind of eating disorders, kind of like related also to the depression patient. So we have to be very careful. That's why I suggested many patients that our colleagues and also the lay people, if there is a sign of depression and it's already in about 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, maybe we have to be very careful also. But more than 2 weeks, we have to go to a psychiatrist or yeah, to kind of a facilities, mental health facilities or psychologists or other professionals in mental health.
Okay. Now, actually, to seek for proper help, that is. Now, Dr. Andri, you've been practicing as a psychiatrist for such a long time, and will it be okay to tell us more so we can be more aware that what is the range of age that actually, suicide hits
Yeah.
to this kind of, age? Is it like teens or adults or that you can share?
Yeah. Yeah, I am an adult psychiatrist, so my prevalence of patients is around 18 years old and older.
Right.
So in my experience, I started doing a psychiatric uh, practice in 2008. So it's been about 14 years from now. And the first years of my practicing is many patients of depression is around 30s to 40s. So, but now, 5 years uh, behind from now, there is an increasing prevalence of depression patients around 20s.
Oh,
So
Wow.
many millennials now, and also the Z generations, starting to know about the depression because a lot of informations we have in social media and also in the website, we can do some, like a self-diagnosis, which is
Yes.
not very true actually, because it is not end with the self-diagnosis. We have to go to seek help. That's the real thing when we are facing the mental health problem. So there's a lot of in our organization, the Indonesian Psychiatric Association, there is a kind of website www.pdskde.org. In that website, there is a PHQ-9. There is a screening, kind of a screening test for depression. So the PHQ-9, it's a very only 9 questions, and it's very, kind of easy to understand. It's in Indonesian language, so you can pick this questionnaire and try to, kind of not self-diagnosis actually, but screen yourself whether you find yourself depressions or not depression. So if you feel that you are depressed and the scores, show that this is kind of a concerning situations, you have to go to psychologists or psychiatrists near you. That's the real message. That's the real message for
right. And as you
this
were
guy.
talking and also explaining, I'm holding my phone already. So it's www.pdskgi.org. I'm opening it right now. And yes, you can actually see there's, Selamat Data website resmi PDSKG, Perhimpunan Dokter Spesialis Kedokteran Jiwa Indonesia. So again, I think we should, because since you said it was free, we should try to take this test and see what happens goes next, right? And as you mentioned that, it's been, there's a shifting age,
Yes.
Christy, like Dr. Andri said before. Previously, he treated like some
Millennials.
late 30s or late 40s,
Yeah.
and now it's, to the late 20s already. So, as a millennial yourself, as a Gen Z, are you Gen Z? No,
Yes.
you're not a Gen Z, right? Sometimes, yes, Christy, what do you call that? The youngsters,
All right.
they are not, correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
they're not, that stable, right? But because sometimes they get influenced easily
Yeah.
by, like Dr. Andri said, through social media itself.
Exactly.
And then they will rethink about it too hard, and then they will make a wrong move. Now, to that, Basasti, what is your message to people who are actually, depressed and they actually need to be helped?
Okay, I'm actually, as a community, want to make sure that everybody has their slot to serve the community first. So if you are able to give something to the community, my message is life is so precious, and so are you, and there will be a light for you if you attempt to seek help. You can find it on Dr. Andri said on website of PDS-JE or into the lightid.org. You will find easily where you can find the help on our website.
Yeah.
And also, at least if you don't believe in anybody around you, you can believe in Into the Light Indonesia. We are here for you, even though we are not keep in touch. Our hand may not touch, but believe that our heart will still reach it others, and together we are strong. So let's seek help and creating hope through actions.
Thank you so much, Mas Hassid. That's what people say every season of growing, which is as a millennials or 30s, 40s, they have their own challenge in every era.
Right.
By the social media, we may be knowing more about the mental health, mental illness and everything, but also by the social media, just like what Dr. Andri and Kasasti mentioned, we also can find the answer by their website.
Yes.
So right now, just continue to talking about Dr. Andri. There is a stigmas of people who are associated with suicide, and maybe if they seem depressed and often talk about the subject, how do we deal with it?
Yeah, we know that stigma is also, it's a stick to the mental health problem. So many patients say that it also prevents them to go and to seek help, say a psychiatrist or psychologist or other mental professionals. So I think this is a kind of, kind of what we are doing to celebrate this World Suicide Prevention Day. It is because we want to remind ourselves that the awareness of seeking help, if you have a kind of suicidal thought, or you have a depression symptoms, or just to make ourselves conscious about this is a real, because depression is a medical problem.
Yeah.
I am a physician, so this is not like a kind of a situations that can be can be dismissed by only pray or to get to be grateful. I know
Yes.
this is the prayer is
Yes.
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
to be grateful is fine.
Yes.
But when you have a depression, it is not really just just being grateful or to get more prayers, but you have to go to professionals, mental health professionals, and you can seek help, and you can talk to anybody. And regarding to the stigma, I hope that everyone will understand this is the medical problems,
Yes.
and you just listen carefully, listen empathically, and try to help by giving them directions to the mental health professional near them.
Right.
So that's the only way you can do.
Right. And
So listen and
obviously,
giving the right
Very
direction, right?
of course, and obviously we
Yes.
don't judge when
Yeah.
people is actually trying to tell us something and give immediate answer or very
Yeah.
quick judgment about that. Okay, so Dr. Andri, thank you so very much about the talk for today, and also
Yeah,
Kasasti, we
Kasasti,
wish
thank
you
you.
Thank you.
all the best with the organization and also the helping
Yes.
team that you have behind you. Thank you so very much.